Hello, I'm Debbie Bell Hosking for FinextraTV in the virtual studio, and I'm joined by Puthanveedu of Thoughtworks, and we're talking about payments innovation. Murali, a big welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Debbie. Wonderful to be here.
We're talking payments innovation, and that word innovation, we hear it a lot. But when it comes to innovation, we almost think it's being led by the private sector. But how does that differ when it comes to payments?
Sure. Yeah. It's a very interesting question. And the perspective here is we are now in a digital economy, whether we like it or not. And digital payments is the connective tissue that holds the digital economy, right? And if you want to build scaled population scale, or what they call as humanity scale innovation, then that has to be a regulator-led one. And based on our experience working with a lot of organization regulatory bodies as such, we see a lot of innovation being pushed by these regulators. In terms of, we are seeing it's more like a coopetition. They are cooperating as well as competing with the private and big tech players. If you take some examples, if you look at the Fed, they are spearheading the innovation of ISO 20022 adoption that's happening. If you look at Europe as such, we see the whole digital pan-European digital wallet and digital ID innovation that's kind of being spearheaded. And we are also seeing organizations like the think tank organizations like BIS getting the central bankers to cooperate across and bring in a lot more innovation, making payment faster, seamless, and easier. Having said that, every region has their own priorities in terms of what they want to solve for, what they want to prioritize for. But overall, we are seeing robust market infrastructure being built by these regulators, backed by government and their policies. And that's really spearheading a lot more players to build on top of some of these base platforms that are being created. Untapping a lot more economic business opportunities in this digital economy.
And you talk about the regulators there, and we'll come to them in a moment. But first of all, let's look at the customers. How would you describe the tangible benefits to the customer?
If you look at from a customer or a business, look at a retail consumer or a business, I think this is the best time to be really around in terms of enjoying the benefits of the digital revolution that's happening, in terms of convenience, in terms of safety, in terms of pure easiness to transact on exchange value, or in terms of cost itself. It's become so cheap now to transact and be available at like 24/7. And the richness of data that's now come in with the ISO 20022 adoption, that's making payments a lot more personalized, because every player in the value exchange is able to add in more information about what they know about the customer and making it much more richer in terms of doing that. And secondly, the interconnection, the real-time payments and the adoption that has happened. And now with the interlinkages of these real-time payments, even cross-border payments are becoming like near real-time, like 24/7 you could do it. There's at your convenience, using your device, using the payment method that you want. And that's become a big sort of a change that I see as a huge shift from a consumer point of view.
And you're talking about these big changes and these big shifts. So let's dive a little bit deeper into governments and regulators. How is this impacting them?
So it's for a government or a regulator, it is actually multifold. On one end, they are really happy that there's a lot more things being done digitally. The physicality and the documentation needs are removed, and a lot more programs are now being delivered digitally and automatically to the real beneficiary assets. So removing a lot more intermediaries. So a lot of friction points are being able to remove. But the other is, with the growth of digital economy, there is also this digital frauds and other things that are coming in, which is also impacting the trust factor and the safety net that some of these platforms that government-led bodies are providing. So that needs a robust framework from a policy, both from the technology, innovation and the adoption that's being kind of fueling some of these platforms. So what we are witnessing is a lot more open source based adoption, a lot more collaborative participation from the network players, from the ecosystem players in terms of making it robust. A lot of policy driven initiatives in terms of protection of data that's coming in. And all in all, I think it's a dual responsibility. I think the governments are taking it seriously because they are trying to drive a lot more initiative to see how they can talk with not just within the players within the region, but to players outside the region, and how do you build robust rails which makes the whole digital economy a little bit more faster, secure, convenient, easier, cheaper, all those things. So a lot more added responsibility on the bucket, but definitely dividends are paying out for the government for sure. Yeah.
And all those different changes you mentioned there. And of course, when we talk about innovation, we have to talk about trends, don't we? So let's look at, absolutely. So let's look a little bit ahead into the future. How do you see trends developing? I mean, the big question is, Murali, what's next?
Yeah, interesting question. And I think we have witnessed a lot of innovation and changes in terms of the convenience economy side of things that's happening, a lot focused on the retail consumer side up till now. So that's like for given now, it's become like a digital public good for any individual in a country that, if I can't send money 24/7, then look, I'm missing out something. This is like a base need, like a road or a transport system. But what we are witnessing now is a shift towards the small and medium business, which is like the core driver of economy in a lot of regions, in terms both from employment as well as in terms of the actual contribution towards GDP. A lot of focus is being shifted there in terms of making solving their business management problems, which involves how do you manage cash, how do you manage liquidity, how do you manage credit, how do I manage payable, receivable, all connected to payments. So I think what's happening is a lot of bundling is happening, and a lot of holistic solutions are being built by people who are closer to payments to address that segment of population, segment of customers as such. Other than that, we are seeing a lot of ISO 20022 adoption across the world, which is making the messaging standards universal. That means more interlinkages are possible, less of actual translation of messages, interpretation of messages happening, and focus on a lot on the core values that you are able to deliver to consumer is being a great focus. A lot more innovation on the engagement experience layer is coming in. We are also seeing a lot of newer concepts called FintraNet come into picture, where they are talking about financial ecosystems being interlinked and tokenization and cryptography kind of coming in, and the actual means of exchange moving from the traditional money that we have known to actual tokenized assets that are available on a distributed ledger. So you really don't have to really exchange money if you want to get a benefit or a value. You could exchange any of these assets as well, or you could probably collateralize it easier for faster, convenient and efficient ways to deliver financial service product. And any conversation will not be complete without the impact of AI on some of these payment value chains. I see a lot of prominence coming for something like an agentic AI on a payment value chain, in terms of making the value chain more efficient, because traditionally the payments value chain believed in more data you share, more benefits you get. Now with the ability of agentic AI, you could have players sharing less of their valuable asset, which is the data, but then you could have agents that are building and increasing the enhancing the value chain of data as they move along the path, and thereby deliver more personalized payment experience to customers. Personalization at scale is something that we are witnessing. And the last one is around tackling fraud and other challenges. And one of the classic approach used to be, let's share data with everybody, shares their data, put it into one common thing and then run it. But now we are seeing instead of sharing of data, or what we are going to have is sharing of intelligence that are going to happen through this agentic AI. Orchestration of intelligence are something that I feel it's going to sort of be the next sort of wave that's going to happen in this space. Debbie.
Wow, Murali, I'm just absorbing all of that you're saying. There is so much going on in this space. I mean, it's exciting. Obviously not the fraud element, is but even in combating that, this conversation can really go on, and it certainly is going to go on year, is it not, with these innovations and payments?
Definitely. I think we are just, though the payments have happened, the digital economy is sort of grown, but it's still on a growth. The pie is definitely a lot more bigger in terms of there are more inclusivity that needs to be brought in. There's more platforms that needs to be built at a humanity scale, and the interlinkages of some of these rails. I think we are going to witness a lot more interconnected, interoperable sort of a growth in this area in the coming, I mean, I can't say years, in the coming quarters or months is what I would rather say. But we could see plans being drawn out, but each of the, if you look at UK government, I think there is plans drawn out to 2026, Europe the same way, North America the same way. So yeah, it's getting there. Yeah.
Wow. So Murali, thank you so much. You've given us a lot of food for thought. Great to have you here in the virtual studio, and I'm sure this conversation is going to continue even once they've clicked stop on the screen. So thank you very much, Murali from Thoughtworks.
Thank you, Debbie. Wonderful to be here. Thank you.